Hey Pops, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah. Start the live with your finger in your. Okay, all right. You do you, man.
Better in my mouth than in my nose,
All
handsome.
right. All right. Thursday night.
Yeah, coming to you from multiple locations, at
Justice
least
is here.
two. Yeah.
Matthew is here.
Yeah.
Yes, we are in different locations. You are in your bedroom, which most people are familiar
Welcome,
with your bedroom,
welcome, folks, to Ray's bedroom in Ventnor.
and you're in my kitchen because it's a small condo. But
Yeah.
over time, We
Yes.
will we will get nice mics again and cameras and all that fun stuff. But the show must go on, Dad, and we've got
Yeah.
questions that we have to answer.
Well, hopefully we have answers. We will do everything in our power to have answers.
You're too much, Ben. Space is in the house as well.
Hey,
Space is doing an
Space.
incredible job back on the YA
Yes.
community, so thank you. And Larry R. It's good to see you, Larry. Long time.
Larry's back in the house.
Pops, before we get started tonight on the questions that are back on the community forum, I want to ask you about the headlines we saw on automotive news first thing this morning with regards
The
to the
headline
production.
that you were so gracious to share with me first thing.
Yeah, I think I my email to you this morning, the subject line was gulp.
Yes.
And then just, yeah, and you had a pretty funny response. I'll pull it up. All right, go
Yeah.
ahead, though. What's your take on what's going on in the industry right now?
Hey, maybe the chip shortage is real. Maybe it's not a figment of everybody's imagination. Maybe, just maybe, every manufacturer has kind of played it wrong. And where Toyota has not really been impacted by it in the past, they are going to be heavily impacted by it moving forward, at least in September, where they're projecting a 40% cut in worldwide production for the month of September, which equates to losing 360,000 units worldwide that they were going to produce, that
And I
won't be
think,
produced.
and I'm going to pull up inventory. I'm pulling it up on the community forum. Here we go. The August inventory levels.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting, the number you just said in the abstract, it's like, okay, what does that mean? Like, is that a lot? Is that a little? Let me share my screen.
Well, is it a lot? I mean, they expect to build 9.3 million cars and trucks this year. They expected to produce over 900,000 units or
Pops,
vehicles
just look
in
at
the
this.
month of September.
Just look at this.
Yeah.
They only have 139,000. This was August 1st.
Yes.
The day's supply of inventory was down to 17.
Yeah.
So this notion or this idea that Toyota weathered the storm and they were fine or they've been doing okay. No, they're at a 17-day supply of inventory at the beginning of August, and now they're saying there's going to be a 40% decline
Yes.
in production in September.
Worldwide. And I believe that equated to about 80,000 units lost for the United States. So that tells you a lot.
And then the other headlines were Ford is closing a plant, VW is closing a plant. So we wish we had different news to share.
Yeah.
We benefit. Everyone benefits if there's actual supply, but the reality is there isn't. And to see Toyota, I mean, the one that like had been doing okay, even though
Yes.
obviously they hadn't been. That was shocking this morning. It really was.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot for and then for the gentleman in charge of procurement to say, there could be other issues moving forward. We're trying to keep an eye on it daily, which is a nice way to say, hey, October's not going to be so wonderful either.
One of the first things going through my head is we've looked at the auto forecast solutions
Yes.
data from Automotive News, and it went from their initial and original. I was trying to put them together.
Yeah.
Their initial estimate that it was going to be, I don't know, 600,000 vehicles lost to production, and now we're up to, 7.1 million. Makes me wonder if this 40% number from Toyota, I mean, you've got to put like your most optimistic foot forward, right? Like,
Yeah.
and just for September, like it's going to be for a while, and it's going to be potentially more than 40%.
You have to try and read between the lines when they say things. And we're going to be looking at this on a daily basis. We're going to do everything we can to mitigate the effects of this. They're saying in a nice way that there's probably going to be continued issues moving forward beyond just September. I mean, but they're not going to come out and just tell you that. They're setting the table for the possibility of that. So when that in fact becomes the case, they kind of warned you.
Did I know I sent this to you, Pops, and I think and I hope everyone in the community has seen it as well. We had an awesome post from a
Yes.
community member
Yes.
about who was actually a microchip designer.
Yes.
Not. I'll link to this in the chat, you guys. I'll try to not get everyone car sick as I'm doing this, but there you go. I'll put that in the chat.
I'm trying not to look so I don't get car sick.
Sorry, Pops.
That's okay.
But this is some of the unique perspective you can get here at YAA, right? Like someone who's actually in the trenches and
Yes.
building out chips. Here's an awesome, I never liked it. Oh, I should like it. An awesome, and truly, yes, Kimberly said, fascinating overview of what's going on the chip side. It's just, okay, I don't want to belabor it, but like, obviously what's happening with the chips is nuts and it's not going anywhere.
And it's real. It's real. That's the thing. It's real. It's not a made up situation. It's real.
As real as our kitchen and your bedroom.
Yeah, and my bedroom and the Philadelphia Art Museum behind me. Yeah.
Alaska's in the house.
Yes.
Okay,
Alaska's always well represented. Yes.
Let's let me share my screen again and let's jump into some of the questions that we received tonight. Sound good?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
All right.
Make it bigger.
What was that?
Make it bigger so I can read it. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, look at that.
All right, Pops. Ray, as mentioned before, YAA is going to grow and diversify beyond just cars. I was wondering if the next departure could be in investments and retirement income. This is interesting. I see many places on the web extolling the virtues of investing in California almond growing. I see where this has gone.
Yeah.
Massive returns considering they supply almost 80% of the world almond demand. Should I invest or am I nuts to think about it? Do you think? Yeah. Definitely intentional use of the word nuts. What's your take on this, Dad?
My take? Oh my God! Take every penny, every dollar, everything you have, and put it into an almond grove near you. Oh, and then also make sure you can get your hands on some water. Because without that, we ain't making milk. We ain't growing almonds. We ain't doing anything.
I just moved into this apartment, and I would open the fridge and show you that there's no almond milk, but there's also no other food, which is somewhat embarrassing at this point because I've been here for 2 days. So I'm not going to do it, but I have not drank any almond milk in a few days. And I'm just saying, I'm not getting bullied by the community, but I'm being persuaded to wiser ways, and I don't mind it.
And what's that? Water? Just drink water?
Just drink some water.
Yeah.
Jeff says the Money Guy show did an episode on this exact topic a couple of years. This is all right. Jeff has a question here. Could we explore how much manufacturers make on the cars they sell to their dealers network? We know how dealers make money, but it would be great to understand how manufacturers make money. Is it possible to explore the total costs that go into each model, such as R&D, factory tooling, suppliers, etc.? Pops, what's your level of knowledge when it comes to the OEMs and how much money they make, things like that?
Well, I know they make a lot. But I really have no idea what the breakout of costs and research and development and tooling and everything else is. I have heard suggestions that if the MSRP is $40,000 and they sell it to the dealer for $37,500, that it really costs the manufacturer somewhere around $18,000 to $20,000. But I don't know that to be the case. I don't know. But it's got to be a lot because, they're producing millions of cars. They're making billions of dollars. They spend an incredible sum of money in order to be able to do that. But yeah, I have never asked anybody on a corporate level at any of the manufacturers, hey, gee, what's your margin? Not like they would tell me even if I asked.
I wonder, though, like the cost infrastructure associated with Ford is really high. Like you have to build a factory, you have to have all these staff to build build things, procure the materials, sell them to the dealer network. Like the costs are really high. So I'd imagine there actually is like a ton of profit. Like what you just said, like is 100% gross profit, but then you have all of your costs.
Yeah, I would think it's probably somewhere around there. And then from that, I mean, if they're making $20,000 on a $40,000 vehicle, Well, out of that 20, comes the marketing expense and
The R
and
and D.
yeah. And so what's that ultimately break down to, um, you know, for what's net per car? I don't know. Maybe that 20,000 turns into 500 or 1,000.
Yeah. And a lot of these are publicly traded companies, so you can like start
Yeah.
to pick up on that a little bit. But no, it's an
Yeah,
interesting
but
question.
but they don't publicly trade it or not. They don't share with you what their margins are. Not
No,
that
no,
I'm
but
aware.
you can see what their net income is.
Yeah,
So for like the whole quarter, but that like takes into consideration
yeah,
everything, not like as specific as we're trying to
yeah.
get. All right, let's go back. Also, I saw a comment about my tabs. This is a pretty light day. Also, I have another browser window all the way down here. So you're not seeing all of them. Jerobi Gerhardt, sponsored climber by night. That's super interesting. Okay, a few questions, Pops. How do
Yeah.
I determine what the actual value is of a used car as the market scarcity and inflation has skewed any metrics I review? That's a good question. Having the data from question number one, in your opinion, what is an acceptable loss? Obviously, none, but that's not reality. Not a reality for people like me who are stuck purchasing a used vehicle, are dealing with right now. Okay, so let's answer question number one. How do
Okay.
you determine the actual value of a used car?
Well, the market value or the wholesale value, those are two different values. Um, the market value you can determine relatively easily by looking at similar vehicles on the internet and seeing what dealerships and others are asking for them. And so that could give you some idea as to what the market might be for those vehicles. Now, how do you determine the actual cash value that a dealership might give you, or that Carvana or CarMax or Vroom? Well, you take it to a dealer and you ask them, what would you, if I just wanted to sell it, I didn't want to trade it in, how much would you write a check for this car? How much would you actually pay me for it? And then you do the online value calculators or to get offers from Carvana and CarMax and Vroom and others that are out there to see what kind of offers you can get for it, so you have a better understanding as to what the wholesale value is. Because let's face it, what the dealers, whether it be the big players, the publicly traded players in the used car space, whatever they're paying for it, they're still expecting to then retail it for more than what they're paying for it. So you get an offer from them that'll give you some type of ideas what the actual wholesale cash value of the vehicle might be, and then you take a look and see what people are asking for them, so you have a better understanding as to what the actual market value, which is what you could expect to retail it for.
Yeah, honestly, leveraging the Carvana valuation is like just a great tool right about now.
Yes.
Okay, but and I'm a bit confused by the second question. Maybe you can help me understand.
Okay.
Having the data from question number one, in your opinion, what's an acceptable loss? I'm not sure if we're talking about a used car I already own, or I'm buying a used car and then I'm going to sell. I'm a bit confused, but obviously none. But that's not a reality that people like me who are stuck purchasing a used vehicle are dealing with right now. What do you are you able to interpret or understand this, Pops?
Well, I think, and I could be 100% wrong, but I think what he's saying is, how much can you expect somebody to discount what they're asking for a car? Maybe that's what he means by,
I did not interpret it like that, but maybe.
yeah, because I don't know how else you would interpret it after you've determined what the actual value is. Because once you've determined what the actual value is, why would you want to sell it for less?
Yeah.
Especially, if you have varying degrees of what the actual value could be. Let's say CarMax offers you 10,000, Carvana offers you 11, Vroom offers you 10.5. So even if you just took an average, the average would be 10.5, but you know that the high water mark on a wholesale level is 11. So once you, why would you be taking a loss? You would then be trying to market it and get a retailer market value for it if you were trying to sell it yourself.
Let's move on to question number three. If one plans on keeping the car until it dies, does financing it to the longest amount of time make sense? I know your stance is typically no longer than 48 or 60 months if you have to on a new car. the answer is no, right? Because you're paying more interest the longer you carry the loan,
Yeah,
correct?
the longer you carry the loan, the more interest you're going to pay. The longer the loan is, typically the higher the interest rate that's charged. Um, but if that's the only way that you can make it affordable on a long-term purchase, if you're planning on keeping it 8, 10, 12 years, if you were to finance it for 6 years, which is 72 months, and you're planning on keeping it for another 4 years after that, but that's the only way you can make it affordable, then, obviously you have to finance it for the 72 months. But you have to stick to your guns and say, once it's paid off, I'm keeping it for at least another 2 to 4 years, if not longer after that.
Yep. Well said. Larry has a suggestion. He said maybe they're asking how much of a difference is acceptable between retail and wholesale.
Okay, and what is
I mean,
acceptable?
we have a blog post back up on the Join YAA website, Deb, where, I mean, you wrote this probably 18 months ago now, 12, 18 months ago, back when the used car market was very different, talking about kind
Mhm.
of like what the typical margin is in a used car, which was not insignificant, but it wasn't what it is today. I mean, nowadays spreads on a used car could be,
Three to five
thousands.
thousand, yeah,
Yeah,
$3,000 to $5,000 probably,
yeah,
if not
exactly.
more. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we hear stories all the time of, the dealer agreed to buy it from me for $32,000 and they put it on the lot for 39.9.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. All right, let me share the screen again, Pops, and let's hop back over here. Alrighty.
and thank you, Larry, because that might made more sense than how I was trying to interpret it.
Yes, thank you, Larry.
Yeah,
From Ismail, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
I
Hi,
think.
guys. Do you know of any manufacturer that is currently, or excuse me, that is making customers pay for gap insurance on leases? A Mazda finance guy tried to add it at the time of signing. With all the crazy market, and with all this crazy market, I wouldn't be surprised. Great channel, and the dynamics of you two couldn't be better. Thanks. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah,
Yes,
Pops, we should probably compile that list of which leasing companies include gap versus which don't. Do you remember off the top of your head, does Mazda?
I don't know. Most do include Gap. I know. My understanding is Toyota Financial does not. Toyota Motor Credit does not include Gap. It's not part of their acquisition fee. But probably, I want to say 75 to 80% of the lending institutions do include Gap insurance because they're trying to protect themselves and their customer.
Yeah, and Toyota Space reminded us, and I think he's right.
Yeah.
Toyota Financial Services, Toyota Motor Credit, they do handle the leasing for Mazda as well.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Well, then, if that's the case, then they would not be including Gap in their leases.
and then Lexus does.
Well, that's because that's their premium brand.
Bet you the acquisition fees a little more.
Yeah, and do you have any idea how much they could piss off their premium customers if they found out after they had an accident that they didn't have Gap insurance that every other manufacturer would have given them?
Yeah, exactly. All right,
Yeah.
this is from Richard. Favorite cologne new car smell. I love that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I saw an interesting advertisement in automotive news that claimed that out of a survey of 300 dealership executives and 1,000 consumers, 72%, we got bold lettering,
Yeah.
of car buyers consider the cost of auto insurance before purchasing a new vehicle, and almost half of all car buyers factor the cost of auto insurance into their vehicle decision. Now, I fully understand that this finding was for marketing some sort of digital insurance platform, but it's an interesting question for the community. Do you or others factor insurance costs before purchasing a car? Does insurance cost influence the type, model, or style of
I would
vehicle?
say, from 43 years of experience, that the cost of the insurance for the car is an afterthought for probably 98% of all people who buy a car.
Is
They
that
go, yeah,
statistically significant, 98% or
yeah,
plus? Yeah.
yeah, okay, plus or minus 100%. I don't know. I just, from my experience, nobody ever said to me, "Oh my God, I wonder what my insurance is going to be on this new car." They just go and they get the car, and then 2 or 3 days later, they remember that they need to call their insurance agent to say, "Oh, I just added a car, and I traded in this other one." And the insurance agent then tells them what their new premium is. Most people have no idea. Most
Yeah.
people don't check.
Have you ever, or can you remember a moment in time where a customer like flipped from a vehicle to a different vehicle because they realized their insurance premium was going to be higher?
No. I just, I
I
mean,
think.
maybe I've seen it once in 43 years, once in 50,000 transactions,
Do
but
you think you sold 50,000? How many cars do you think you sold?
not me personally. I mean,
No, no,
that
I
I
know, I know,
was,
but
yeah,
like how many cars would you sell a month? Do you think
well,
like your dealerships?
150, 200 cars a month. I
And
mean, let's figure it
there's
out.
12 months in a year, right?
Last time I checked, if it's 150 cars, it's 1,800, 150 a month. That's 1,800 a year. What's 1,800 times 40? What's 4 times 18? 30 is 72.
Oh, you're making
70,
my head hurt.
yeah, I'm sorry. A lot. I've sold a lot. I've been involved in a
Is
lot
that
of
72,000?
1,800 times 2 is 3,600.
That's 72,000 cars.
It's 1,800. Yeah, yeah. 72. Yeah, yeah. Probably somewhere around there. Yeah.
What's in your mouth?
Leftover dinner. Leftover nachos. um, but yeah, so I mean, the number is probably somewhere between um, 50 and 70,000 cars that I've been involved in the sale of. 50,000 and 70, for probably God knows how many, you know, $1 billion or more dollars that I've been responsible for in automotive sales. I don't know. Go figure.
I can't tell if people are laughing at the food in your mouth or at the fact that you sold 75,000 cars over your career. Because I think
I'm
that's
trying to
admirable.
figure. I'm trying to figure out how I ever found time to sell that.
You were never at the soccer games, man. You were selling cars.
I was busy desking a lot of deals in my day.
You really were.
Yeah,
Joy agrees with you, though, Pops, that insurance is an afterthought. That being said, Justice said he's doing it in his head. Yeah. But, hey,
yeah, but yeah. So you do it in your head, but do you call your insurance agent before just to get a quote?
yeah,
Probably
I don't know.
not.
That
Yeah.
actually might be an interesting thing for us to think
Well,
about
that
building
was
into
one of the things
YAA.
when we talked about the 10% rule.
Yeah.
When people say, how
How much?
much can I afford in a monthly payment? One of the things we discussed is you have to take into consideration the cost of maintenance over time, and you have to take into consideration the cost of your automobile insurance. So if your car payment alone is $500 a month, and your insurance payment is another $150 a month, well, now you're up to $650 a month. Is that affordable for you?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we've touched on. But most people show up, trade their car, go sign all the paperwork, and then they call their insurance company.
This is cool, though. Justice is saying,
Yeah.
he's able to
Well,
do it on an app. Mark is someone who did it as well, saw that there was a difference. But that being said, the research that
yeah.
we were referring to, let me pull it back up so that everyone can
You
see.
said it was 72%.
Yeah,
Well,
Richard said it was. I think that's some good marketing. Is kind of what.
yeah, I think that maybe they inverted the numbers and it was 2.7%.
Inverted the numbers and moved the decimal point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's answer Matt's questions here,
Yeah,
Pops. A couple things I'm curious to know. All right, let's see this.
there
Is
are
it
two things.
unreasonable when negotiating to ask a salesperson to remove the pre-delivery service fee? Everything else price-wise I was good with, was even going to finance through the dealer and fly out of state to pick it up in person. They wouldn't move on it, saying everyone has to pay this dealer fee, and even tried to pressure me that you need to hurry as someone else is looking at the vehicle. Through checking the VIN on YA, it had been on the lot for 42 days. It was a Volvo XC60. I stuck to my guns and ended up walking. Was I wrong? Pre-delivery service fee.
Well, are we talking about a new car or a pre-owned car? Now, on a new car, the dealer is reimbursed by the manufacturer when they do the pre-delivery inspection, the PDI. because every new car has to have a pre-delivery inspection before the sales department is allowed to get their hands on it and sell it. And that's reimbursed by the manufacturer. So there is no need to charge a customer for that. I saw one the other day on something that somebody sent in where it was $1,995 pre-delivery fee. Or yeah, pre-delivery inspection fee. Well, that's nonsense. Nissan's paying them to do that. That's just another way for them to try and make additional money off of the customer. On a pre-owned car, the inspection fee, the safety inspection and the reconditioning, that should all be factored into the asking price of the car and should not be separated out as a separate line item. So that is how do we say it nicely, a BS charge that the dealership is using in order to either advertise the car at a price that they don't intend to sell it for and that nobody else is advertising it for because it's so far below everybody else, or they're just trying to pick up extra money. So God bless you for walking out. That's not the transparent manner in which you would want to deal with a dealership.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
The good news is I had no idea that was coming, so thank you for that.
Oh, I love it. And yeah, Matt said it was a 2-year-old vehicle.
Okay, well, good for you for walking out, Matt.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's check. There was another question there, Pops. Appreciate your insight there, though. I wholeheartedly agree with you. What is the typical lifespan of vehicles these days when everything is so tech-driven? Currently driving a beater that is in the family that is super, all caps basic. The only tech is the radio, no tape or CD component. I'm not in a big rush to purchase, looking for something by mid-late September, eyes on the XC60. So yeah, older vehicles, later, I'm thinking like late 90s, like those things still run well, don't they? Can't they?
Sure, just like cars from the 50s and 60s can still run. Just go to Cuba, because that's the last time they saw a new car. And they still run. But,
yeah,
new cars today with all the technology, I would imagine if you do maintenance, the key to any of these cars is to do maintenance when it's required.
I think, though, yes. I'm curious to get your take on this. I know this isn't something that we've discussed. I think that a lot of the OEMs, a Ford, for example, a BMW, they've seen the Apple playbook and you mentioned this in a video we recently filmed. Everyone wants the latest model. Got to get the new iPhone, right? Yeah. I sense and see this transition happening in the future where it's like, and we see it already right now with leasing. People want, move out of cars every 3 years. But as things become more tech driven, this functionality doesn't upgrade. What I'm trying to get at is there's this cultural shift to like, I always have to have the latest. And now that it's more tech driven, less mechanical driven, I think you're going to see the same pressures that we feel as a society to upgrade in cars because of tech, less because of mechanical. That'll drive people to change.
But the point is that whether it has the latest and greatest tech that's offered today or what was the latest and greatest tech that was offered 3 years ago, if you maintain that 3-year-old car, there's no reason in today's world why it wouldn't last 10, 15, 20 years, other than the fact that the vast majority of Americans don't like to keep anything that long, other than maybe a washer and a dryer or a refrigerator.
I hate the washer here at the apartment, but that's for a different video. What I'm getting at, though, is I think some of the tech stuff, I bet you stops working in like 3 years, or they don't upgrade it and like it doesn't advance. And there you go, functional obsolescence. Yeah, like you're going to end up in that type of situation. And I agree with Justice, this idea of subscribing for a new car annually, get it upgraded. And honestly, Madeline, who I know is on the stream, she's with Volvo.
Yes.
What's the Volvo program?
Volvo Care. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great program for many people.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, when Madeline first posed her question about Volvo Care on the community forum, and I started doing some research, and with all the things that they include, the maintenance, the excess wear and tear coverage, the tire and wheel package, your auto insurance for the vehicle, the ability to switch out a car after, I think it was, I forget how many months, and the ability to be able to drop out of the program after 4 months. To me, it just made so much sense because at whether it was $600 or $700 a month, when you have all those things factored in, that is, it's hard to imagine, but that is a relatively modest all-in amount for being able to drive a car.
Yep. We have a comment here, Deb, from Mike C. My broker warned me that Infinities are just about the most expensive to repair from his claims experience. Then we've got Larry R. Repair cost of my wife's Infinity is not out of line. Consistent with Japanese luxury cars, Acura, Lexus, nowhere near the repair cost of a German luxury car. I'll actually even speak to, I remember my poor Volvo when I used to have it. Man, that thing was expensive to maintain.
Yes.
So any type of European brand.
I will tell you from experience that one of the nice things about the Acura product was that it was about 3/4 of the cost of maintaining the same type of maintenance on a Lexus as it was on an Acura. So certain brands charge more. Infinity, I can't imagine, sees themselves. I know they don't see themselves on the same level of a Lexus or a BMW or a Mercedes Benz.
You wouldn't say that in an Infinity boardroom.
Yes, I would, because they have said that they no longer see themselves, that brand, as a premium brand. More like Acura used to always refer to themselves as a near luxury brand. It's just a slightly higher Nissan to them now, and not a premium separate brand like they used to think of it.
Which is how we kind of define ourselves. We're near luxury. We're your Acuras.
We're near intelligent. Okay, we're not quite intelligent. We're near intelligent.
If I blow up, ladies and gentlemen, it's only because I had an internal sneeze and not an external.
And I feel like that's the appropriate ad lib for what you just said, because who the hell said that?
Well, somebody that thinks he's intelligent would say, "Yeah, I'm near intelligent." I mean, after all, I was told by a prospective employer one time that I was trainable.
You are trainable.
Yeah.
All right, Pops, let's go back to the community and let's take a quick
I have to stick my finger in my
eye. James Podlucky, here we go.
Yeah.
How reliable is Volvo? I can speak to my experience. Maybe Madeline can chime in as well so far with her experience. I am looking at purchasing a 2021 Volvo XC90 T6 R Design. Killer SUV.
Yes.
I believe I am at a good position on closing the deal thanks to all your videos, content, and the community. That's awesome, James. However, this specific trim may not be as reliable, and maybe I should lease. CarMax bought out my Jeep, my 2019 Jeep lease, and I'm working on getting equity from a 4Runner lease and using the money for a down payment on the Volvo, which would be my first car purchase in probably the worst year, correct? I'm getting a pretty good rate, 2.59%, and when in negotiation with the finance manager, he asked if I was in the business. That's awesome.
Yeah.
This will drop us down to one vehicle until the craziness stops, so mileage might be a factor on the lease, and it would be nice to have ownership. If the reliability isn't great, maybe the vehicle service contract is something to consider. Thanks. And then it looks like this is where I'm currently at in the deal. I did not sign anything yet, but said they would have papers ready to go tomorrow afternoon. Let's take a peek as a group here. Haven't done one of these in a while live. So we've got $65,330. I assume that's the MSRP on the vehicle. We could roughly
assume, yeah.
Somehow we're getting nearly $7,000 in discounts.
Yes, we have no idea how much of that is factory incentive.
I bet you it's primarily dealer though, because let's take a look. We can look back. I'm going to jump to this tab. Rebates and incentives. I posted the most recent rebates and incentives today. I think Volvo should be on here. Let's see. Maybe they're not.
No,
I guess Volvo's not on here. So I'm not sure what manufacturer incentives are currently in play for Volvo, so we can't comment on that. There's significant savings, or discounting, we should say. Dock fee in Florida is $905, which is actually light in Florida.
Oh, yeah, we've seen it as high as $999.
I mean, on the surface, this seems okay. I don't really have too much perspective to compare it against. I would have to look back and see if there are other deals on the community forum to compare to. So, Pops, I guess the question is Volvo and reliability and your take on that. And in this market, are you leasing that deal or are you financing and purchasing that deal?
Well, if it's going to be their only vehicle, and they're afraid of excess miles, then it might be more beneficial to buy than to lease. Um, as far as reliability is concerned, our dear friend Scotty Kilmer would say you should never own a Volvo. I would say after having seen you put nearly 40,000 miles on your Volvo in a little over 2 years' time, that you didn't really have any issues with it at all.
Tires, but that's nothing
Like
mechanical.
the tires, because it was a low profile tire,
Yep.
and you curbed a couple wheels, and or you hit potholes, and that destroyed tires, and with that particular model. But mechanically, you really didn't have any issues. Um, so, I mean, there are those who would say that they are reliable. There are those who would say that they're not. I would just, for third party fun, see if you could get your hands on Consumer Reports to see what their reliability ratings are for the particular Volvo you're looking at. Um, but based on your experience, I don't know.
I mean, and
It
even
didn't seem any more or less reliable than any other car we've had.
no, and Justice here, my ex drives a
Yeah,
2002 Volvo, runs like a new car still. She loves
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Diesel's suggesting might be time to buy her a new car, and Justice did back in
yeah, yeah,
2002.
yeah. I mean, how many new cars do you have to buy her?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
is
Diesel
it not
saying
enough?
PPI on the Volvo. No, this is a brand new one, so
Yeah,
you need to do the PPI. Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, especially and Madeline's in here as well, talking about her experience with
yeah.
Volvo. People that like Volvos tend to end up becoming kind of like fanatical about them. So I think, I mean, looks like you've got a pretty good deal in front of you, and that's something that in this market you shouldn't overlook.
I mean, I can honestly say, in all my years in the industry, I never heard a lot of bad things about the reliability of Volvos. I heard a lot of bad things about the reliability of a lot of Chrysler product at the time. I heard a lot of reliability issues regarding Land Rover and Range Rovers and Jaguars. Where the joke for those vehicles was if you wanted to drive one on a daily basis, you needed to own two or three.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. All right,
So
pops. I want to, if it's okay with you, I want to wrap up tonight with a success story and also a huge thank you to the community. Does that sound okay?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
here we
know.
go.
I know. And may I say something before you do this? I know you're pretty tired. You've been working. You've been working really hard and a lot. Well, probably way too much. And you rented a nice apartment with a shitty bed, and you're waiting for your mattress topper and good pillows to come in. So you're not sleeping as well as you should.
No,
So if you're sort of running on empty tonight, maybe everybody will understand why.
no. I'm feeling okay right now, but thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I'm excited to get the new studio set up. I just was, yeah. I'm trying to figure
Nobody,
out. Yeah, go ahead.
Nobody's more excited about that than I am, especially if we could get a secondary one down here at the shore
No, no, I
instead of
know,
my
but
living room and my bedroom.
I just ordered like a nice mic today, and like I'm thinking about how behind us, I want like a logo and like a
Yeah,
photo of
yeah,
you and me, and like it'll look
yeah,
really nice. It's just gonna.
yeah. I want that too.
So we had from Matt Johnson here. I've been
Yeah,
enjoying my 2018 Volvo S90. I had a 2017 S90
yeah,
for a couple months now. Do not buy new. Depreciation is brutal with Volvos,
yeah,
but the depreciation on the XC90 will be less than on the S90, just
yeah,
from an SUV versus sedan standpoint.
yeah. Because the sedans just aren't nearly as popular, and they never have been.
Yep. Leasing may scratch and itch for those who like to upgrade often. There's also a large contingent of people who enjoy customizing their vehicles, which you wouldn't do unless you own. Good point. All right. Okay. So yes, I want to share with you the success story. I don't know if you saw it. There's on average now 50 to 75 new like posts and comments and things like that in the community every day. So it's hard to keep up with all of them. But I wanted to call out. This was posted in the buying channel from Nora, and let's
Okay.
give Nora a shout out, and then also Space, who is in here, Jeff, who is in here, Melissa, who is in here, Jeremy, who is in here. I mean, there were a lot of people helping Nora, and ultimately Pops, she got the Ray Sheffield stamp of approval. So I want to share with you. Yes, exactly. So new to YAA, there's a CX-5 that she was interested in purchasing. I called and did the receptionist trick and got the salesperson using I'm looking to help my elderly mother buy a car. Love when that works. Use the email template to get the OTD price and the best APR. I'm wondering, once I have the OTD and the APR and everything, do I negotiate out taxable fees in the dealership? Goes on, right? The amount of community engagement here is just like through the roof. So many different people helping and providing advice, going to CarMax on the trade-in. What's the vehicle you're trading in? Here's what I'm trading in. I mean, Space was in here just like giving most like, look, I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
It's really, it's really awesome. And then ultimately, thanks for all your help. The dealership gave me $11,500 for the trade-in, and they split remote start install using the key fob, not Mazda Mobile, with me 50-50. I wasn't expecting them to be flexible with the price on the car since it was already priced well, and the CarMax appraisal definitely helped. Salesperson initially said that CarMax is always high, but then he could do 11 and ended up agreeing to 11.5 after I pushed a bit. I think I got a good deal. Got the interest rate down to 1.8% instead of the 2.7%.
Good.
Right? Like, just a really awesome example of everyone coming together here and ultimately getting your stamp of approval. And one thing I want to propose and kind of toss out there, like, I think we need a stamp of approval. We have one for Kimberly. We have one that's like jokingly for me. I think we should get one for Justice, and I think we need one with an astronaut on it for Space.
Absolutely.
Because there are other people in this community, and you know, those are our auto advocates, people on as a part of our team, like in there every day, you know, making sure that they can support this. But like, we need some more stamps. We need some more stamps because those are jobs well done, and you're not able to look at every single one of them, but they're still happening, and I think it's incredible.
You know, a lot of my comments have I mentioned recently just how much I love the community and what the concept of community can actually mean to everybody. You know, whether it's Kimberly or you or me or Justice or Space, you know, that's 5 people. Okay, we can't talk to everybody. We can share as much as we possibly can, but the fact that there's so much community involvement is what makes this work. It is everybody wanting to help everybody else. That's the whole idea behind it. So that when Nora has a success, we all had that success. It's not just hers. It was hers and Space and Justice and Jeremy and Melissa. Everybody shared in that success. And that's the power of what it is that, God bless you, you're trying to build. So, yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think just between you and me and the 2 or 3 other people that might be watching and listening tonight, that coming up with the community forum was, bar none, the best decision, the best move we ever made.
But I showed you what we're working on next, right? I mean, you're excited about that.
I'm just talking about what we've done so far. I'm not, you know, just be on the lookout, folks. There's some more good stuff down the road.
Definitely.
On the horizon.
Yeah. No, pretty cool. I wanted to share that, surface that. Okay, let's call it a night, Pops. I'll be back tomorrow in your neck of the woods. Saturday night should be really fun. I've got a couple ideas in my head for some things I want to do with you when I'm there then. And yeah, thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. And yeah, get some rest as well, Pops, okay?
That's all I do is rest.
Earlier today, I wanted to take a nap so bad, and I was like, Dad's probably napping right now.
I did not nap today. I did not. I should have. I did not. It was a little warm down here, so I didn't really feel like laying out in the sun when it was 80-some degrees. But maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll definitely nap. But all right. Have a good night, Pops. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you, guys.
Yep.